So there's this term going around, NPC. That's what we're going to talk about today. NPC, or non-playable character. It's a term that's been around for a while now. It's been around for such an amount of time that it's been quoted by Elon Musk in his Twitter, and people understand what he's saying when he says it, which makes it pretty big. Now, for those of you who don't know, the NPC, or the non playable character, tends to be a person in life who doesn't really know where they are at all, is not aware, and they're stuck sort of going through the same programming language and routine every single day, every single moment, without much of a break, or knowing why they don't care to seek for a break. And what's really just a shitty language of bad logic and not knowing why they are where they are to begin with. So this would be along the lines of what an NPC is. They're not really all together. They're not really all together. They're not really there. They're very like got that fluoridated stare, blank, just a blank slate, mostly going through the motions, and again without ever really knowing the motivations, or having motivations even beyond just day-to-day survival. Now, the title of this is what is the title of this? The title of this video is "You Are Not Entitled to Not Being an NPC." And to me, that's a powerful idea. You are not entitled to not being an NPC. Now, Elon Musk himself has coined the term NPC, non-playable characters, in life, the NPCs of life. And having coined the term himself, one might imagine that he wants to safely assume that he is not an NPC, which is fine. You would think of everybody on Earth building rocket ships and your dream coming to manifest, much like this other guy I've now heard of that I know virtually nothing about, other than he's a famous kickboxer, and like people talk about him like he's found some glitch in the Matrix or something like that, to where he's got super rich almost overnight. But anyway, so Andrew Tate, Elon Musk, you might think people like this can assume easily that they are not NPCs. And so many of the rest, in fact, whomever they choose to look at and call an NPC, is going to be viewed as an NPC. And now remember, NPCs are not just the people at the village who say those little generic one-liner statements and go through these shitty logic loops, and are just kind of blank, vacant, fluoridated stare, like not altogether there almost at all. NPCs are also powerful level bosses. The reason this is important to know that the NPC is also powerful level bosses is the NPC itself, as a powerful level boss, is going to seem like, he's going to seem like it altogether is there. And not just altogether is there, but is assumably over you. And until you've defeated this NPC level boss that has just huge powers at its summoning capabilities, it's going to seem like this thing is less NPC than you are. And to it, you are the NPC until you can defeat it and move on to the next level. Now, the reason then that is even more important as we build on and graduate from this is Elon Musk is dragging us closer and closer, funny enough, to merging with AI. I recently saw a video where he is saying he wants the AI not to be something outside of us, but he wants the AI to be us And what that implies by default is transhumanism. So as much as Elon Musk seems like the world's number one not NPC, he's very much enacting an NPC logic and programming agenda and motivation. Now that is hugely concerning, especially because too, sorry if I sound a little bit stuffed up, I got COVID finally, or what they're calling COVID right now. I got it finally, after all this time, just now, like within the last 48 hours or so, 72 hours. But not to veer too far off course, because what I really want to lay down next is really more important. In the whole, you are not entitled to not be an NPC. That's a good message for someone like Elon Musk or someone like Andrew Tate or just someone who rolls out of bed kicking ass left and right. To sum it up, it's almost like the formula stupid is as stupid does, right? NPC is as NPC does. You are not entitled to get out of bed and call other people an NPC. Nobody is. In fact, I've succumbed to it myself on accident, calling others around me, pointing the finger. One of the ultimate toxic narcissistic traits, they do that very thing. They go around and they blame others. And they get others to believe that the person they are blaming is NPC. And an NPC of some sort, right? So, from there we can connect the dots fairly easily that if stupid is as stupid does, if NPC is as NPC does, then yeah, you're talking about opening up a whole new gateway of perception of this thing, a more rightful, upright perception of this thing, where we can develop and advance and sort of handle our own personal tale, our own personal evolution, if you will, in life, our own personal adaptation to how we face it. And this is something that spiritually inclined people have known since the beginning of time. That's it. They wake up, and the only NPC that they can face properly and take on properly is in the internal realms, the internal spirit reality. That's why they're just a bit different than everyone else. And I don't mean different crazy. I mean very often different. They are somehow mystically blessed and just operate on a different level. Yeah, there are levels. The NPC, you defeat the NPC to move on to the next level. And if that NPC moves into the internal realities and what we take care of in our own self, in our own mental sphere, in our own spirit sphere, in our own emotional sphere, and then right down to our own physical actuated reality, you see people who are much more happy because they're already handling NPCs in realms and in worlds that others can't even begin to see into. Now, imagine again, if you will, the fog of war when you play these games. Then if you'll imagine the fog of war, you as you're moving around between all these interdimensional levels, you will absolutely, you'll pick up on what's in your most immediate personal sphere, in your most immediate personal zone, and you can't see the hordes and hordes and hordes that extend beyond this little sphere of light that surrounds you until you get the power-ups that keep extending that sphere of light to where you can see more and more and more, and you develop that sort of, in the video game sense, in the life as a video game metaphor sense, you develop that 1,000-yard stare. Pretty soon that field is so big, one of the main powers you need is the ability to see everything, or else you never know when a whole battalion of the bad guys is up on your ass and, just wrecking you, and then boom, game over. And the way to keep a game over from happening in the most literal sense of what the NPC truly is, and how to confront the NPC and how to handle this in wisdom. And wisdom is what gets that field of vision, so the fog of war becomes less of a threat, less of a threat, less of a threat. It's really wisdom that actually, the internal wisdom that helps you get an edge beyond that. Now, in developing that, and here's one of the coolest parts of this. One of the coolest parts of this is that it's almost like, basically, you look at it this way. People might ask the question, okay, so if the NPC is me, does that mean it's like a Scorpion versus Scorpion every round for the rest of my life? Or it's Sub-Zero versus Sub-Zero? This is a Mortal Kombat reference, in case you don't know. It's Raiden versus Raiden every day for the rest of my life? No, it is not you versus your own self every day for the rest of your life, but you realize it's all going on inside you anyway. So every combat and every challenge, every NPC boss is already within you. Every NPC boss, every little person in that village, it's all in you anyway. So remember, NPC is as NPC does, and that is your main challenge right there. So once you realize that, you've already defeated one of the hugest obstacles between a champion and a noob, if we might say. So, yeah, I think, now as far as I know, I had thought many other thoughts about this, but I think that was like the meat and the bones of really what it was that was important about this, that really means much of anything at all that's substantial. So, I want to cut it short at that, so I'm not just sitting here like dragging on and on for the sake of dragging on and on, which we had that talk last time. Oh, and I will sum this up by saying real quick, it ties into what I did mention in the last video. What I did mention in the last video was actually how, so you're being caught up in obligations and pressures that don't even actually belong to you. Yeah, so the NPC is already winning. That's horrible because you can't be, you're not present because you're cut off from the true power and presence and what it means of the internal reality and that spiritual vision that is on and going strong and has momentum, and that's the foot you lead with. You don't so much lead with that foot anymore when the NPC is always outside you and you're always looking to blame and find the NPC. I can tell you this, once you've found the NPC outside you, that's the exact moment you became the NPC. And that's not just the exact moment you became the NPC. That's the moment you became the winning NPC who defeats you. Now, that's a thing, because we're not just talking at that point about this little life. We are talking about something that's vast and grand and epic cosmic scale. And most people can't feel that, so most people will never get that statement that I just made. Because at that point, it's so nuanced and subtle, yet it's the most absolute of all. Therein lies the very codes towards enlightenment, if you will, if you can, if you even want, and if you are able to follow through. And it's the hardest thing of all. It's easy for me to say this right here into a camera, but it's the hardest thing of all to live out. And if you're going to live it out, then yeah, you are that much closer to, you finally won the video game of life that everyone has said is not winnable and just keeps going in cycles and cycles and cycles, because you finally broken through the cyclical. That is the very essence and core of the hallmark of where cycle even begins and comes from, in that there's a beginning point and the ending point to all things. So I hope you enjoyed this and can use it. I'm not charging you for it with classes. Most people would elongate something like this out for about 8 weeks and charge you probably about $200 for each lesson during the week. So I hope this is something special and it can be used properly the right way. and bring you to something that's outside of the realm of anything that you've been ready to face head on as of yet. And now you are that much more ready to face it head on, because I'm telling you what, if that NPC was outside us at this point, based on what's going on in the world, if that NPC was so easy that we could shift it outside of us and call it for sure, beyond a shadow of a doubt, as in, I'm standing here and I'm not the NPC, that is standing over there and absolutely 100% is the NPC, then guess what? Even if that were the case, no amount of physical weapons and shields and armors and energy weapons and laser cannons, it's this, that, and the other, nuclear warheads, none of that shit is going to save you now. If you could do that. So now would be the time to stop doing that. And you want to talk about truther and you want to talk about truth. That again ties into, finally, to sum it all up, that ties into how if people are looking for the truth, they're going to go within and they're going to find that truth if they are earnestly seeking the truth. That's what's going to happen. So that is more difficult, and that's why spiritual people tend to just somehow seem different. And to people who are going around calling the NPC outside themselves without much of a spiritual bone in their body, that's why they want to yank their hair out and just strangle spiritual people and not ever be able to put their finger on why. So it's the frustration of the restriction and the constrictor, boa constrictor, that great snake that is represented by also karma, karma and restriction and discipline to do things over again from the start, to have to get things right. And all that falls into the realm of course, someone like me who studies the things that I've studied. That falls into the realm of Saturn, and then all you go throughout the rest of the mysteries. Eventually, that does become what's called Satan, too. So that's something worth thinking about, and that is the great fallen one, the great adversary, and accuser, and just absolute hater who doesn't want to stand by humanity but takes the glory only for himself. So, okay. So I'm leaving it at that, and do what you can make of it, and do your thing, and hopefully you come out to great ends from it. If anything can make you an NPC, it's actually taking away your power. So you are no longer an NPC. As of this video, as of this message, as long as you live this message within you fully, there's no need to make anyone else an NPC. Oh, baby boy, my baby bunny is... I think that was a bit of a sneeze. If no one else can make you an NPC, you have no need to make anyone else an NPC, and they can't do that to you. Therefore, you are no longer a slave. There is no NPC. NPC is just done at that point, and you've unlocked now for yourself the greatest Easter egg of all being, of at all time. You've unlocked the greatest Easter egg for your own self of all time, and powered up. You found the secret hidden stash of all the one-up lives, supposedly, you might say. all the green mushrooms. Anyways, you can support this message and me possibly doing a bit more here and there when I can by either buying... You can get a Not Your NPC t-shirt. I have Not Your NPC t-shirts, and I have You Are Not Entitled to Not Be an NPC t-shirts. So I have both of those. I have these hoodies here. If you want to support me, just pick up a very limited design original artwork hoodie of mine. I will drop an invoice and I prefer to do shipping anywhere just in the USA. I can do overseas, but that's very expensive. It gets quite a bit. The shipping gets quite a bit more expensive once you start going overseas. But I can very easily ship anywhere in the USA. So get one of these original hoodie designs from me, or get one of my NPC themed, not an NPC, not an NPC themed T-shirt. Anyway, and that's gonna be the best way to support me, and me keeping on bringing material like this once in a while within reason. I'm not an everyday, all day uploader, live streamer. Everybody needs to watch every move I make, and everybody needs to see what I'm eating every 5 minutes. I'm just not that type. So I'm not that type of NPC. No, I'm kidding. So, all right, there you have it.